Ananda said to the Buddha, World-Honored One, it is still not clear in my mind what the Buddha, the World-Honored One, has explained for me and for others like me about causes and conditions, spontaneity, the characteristics of mixing and uniting, and the absence of mixing and uniting. And now to hear further that to see seeing is not seeing adds to yet another layer of confusion. Humbly, I hope that with your vast compassion, you will bestow upon us the great wisdom eye, so as to show us the bright, pure, enlightened mind. After saying this, he wept, made obeisance, and waited to receive the holy instruction. Then the World-Honored One, out of pity for Ananda and the great assembly, began to explain extensively the wonderful path of cultivation of all samadhis of the great Dharani. He said to Ananda, although you have a strong memory, it only benefits your wide learning, but your mind has not yet understood the subtle secret contemplation and illumination of samatha. Listen attentively now, as I explain it for you in detail, and may this explanation cause all those of the future who have outflows to obtain the fruition of Bodhi. Ananda, all living beings turn on the wheel of rebirth in this world because of two upside-down discriminating false views. Wherever these views arise, revolution through the cycle of appropriate karma occurs. What are the two views? The first consists of the false view based on living beings' individual karma. The second consists of the false view based on living beings' collective share. What is meant by false views based on individual karma? Ananda, it is like a person in the world who has red cataracts on his eyes, so that at night he alone sees around the lamp a circular reflection composed of layers of 5 colors. What do you think? Is a circle of light that appears around the lamp at night the lamp's colors, or is it the seeing's colors? Ananda, if it is the lamp's colors, why is that someone without the disease does not see the same thing, and only the one who is diseased sees the circular reflection? If it is the seeing's colors, then the seeing has already become colored. What then is the circular reflection the diseased person sees to be called? Moreover, Ananda, if the circular reflection is in itself a thing apart from the lamp, then it would be seen around the folding screen, the curtain, the table, and the mats. If it has nothing to do with the seeing, it should not be seen by the eyes. Why is it that the person with cataracts sees the circular reflections with his eyes? Therefore, you should know that in fact, the colors come from the lamp, and the diseased seeing brings about the reflection. Both the circular reflection and the faulty seeing are the result of the cataract. But that which sees the diseased film is not sick. Thus you should not say that it is the lamp or the seeing, or that it is neither the lamp nor the seeing. It is like a second moon, often seen when one presses on one's eyes while looking up into the sky. It is neither substantial nor a reflection, because it is an illusory vision caused by the pressure exerted on one's eye. Hence, a wise person should not say that the second moon is a form or not a form, nor is it correct to say that the illusory second moon is apart from the seeing or not apart from the seeing. It is the same with the illusion created by the diseased eyes. You cannot say it is from the lamb or from the seeing. Even less can it be said not to be from the lamb or the seeing. What is meant by the false view of the collective share, Ananda, in Jambudvipa, besides the waters of the great seas, there is level land that forms some 3,000 continents, east and west throughout the entire expanse of the great continent. There are 2,300 large countries. In the other smaller continents in the seas, there may be 200 or 300 countries, or perhaps 1 or 2, or perhaps 30, 40, or 50. Ananda, suppose that among them there is one small continent where there are only 2 countries. The people of just one of the countries together experience evil conditions. On that small continent, all the people of that country see all kinds of inauspicious things. Perhaps they see 2 suns, perhaps they see 2 moons with circles, or a dark haze, or girdle ornaments around them, or comets, shooting stars, years on the sun or moon, rainbows, secondary rainbows, and various other evil signs. Only the people in that country see them. The living beings in other country from the first do not see or hear anything unusual. Ananda, I will now go back and forth, comparing these 2 matters for you, to make both of them clear. Ananda, in the case of the living being's false view of individual karma, by which he sees the appearance of a circular reflection around the lamp, the appearance seems to be real, but in the end, what is seen comes into being because of the cataracts on the eyes. The cataracts are the result of the weariness of the seeing, rather than the products of form. However, the essence of seeing which perceives the cataracts is free from all diseases and defects. For example, you now use your eyes to look at the mountains, the rivers, the countries, and all the living beings. They are all brought about by the disease of your seeing, contracted since time without beginning. Seeing and the conditions of seeing seem to manifest what is before you. Originally, my enlightenment is bright. The seeing and conditions arise from the cataracts. Realize that the seeing arises from the cataracts. The enlightened condition of the basically enlightened bright mind has no cataracts. That which is aware of the faulty awareness is not diseased. It is a true perception of seeing. How can you continue to speak of feeling, hearing, knowing, and seeing? Therefore, you now see me and yourself and the world and all the 10 kinds of living beings because of a disease in the seeing. What is aware of the disease is not diseased. The true essential seeing by nature has no disease. Therefore, it is not what we normally call seeing. Ananda, let us compare the false views of those living beings' collective share with the false views of the individual karma of one person. The individual person with the diseased eyes is the same as the people of that one country. He sees circular reflections erroneously brought about by a disease of the seeing. The beings with a collective share see inauspicious things. In the midst of their karma of identical views arise pestilence and evils. Both are produced from a beginningless falsity in the seeing. It is the same in the 3,000 continents of Jambudvipa, throughout the 4 great seas, and in the Saha world, and throughout the 10 directions. All countries that have outflows and all living beings are the enlightened, bright, wonderful mind without outflows. Because of the false, diseased conditions that are seen, heard, felt, and known, they mix and unite in false birth, mix and unite in false death. If you can leave far behind all conditions which mix and unite, and those which do not mix and unite, then you can also extinguish and cast out the causes of birth and death, and obtain perfect bodhi, the nature which is neither produced nor extinguished. It is the pure, clear, basic mind, the everlasting, fundamental enlightenment. Ananda, although you have already realized that the wonderfully bright basic enlightenment does not by nature come from causes and conditions, and is not by nature spontaneous, you have not yet understood that the enlightened source is produced neither from mixing and uniting, nor from a lack of mixing and uniting. Ananda, now I will once again make use of the mundane objects before you to question you. You now hold that false thoughts mix and unite with the causes and conditions of everything in the world, and you wonder whether certification to Bodhi might arise from mixing and uniting. Accordingly, right now, does the wonderful pure seeing essence mix with light? Does it mix with darkness? Does it mix with emptiness? Or does it mix with solid objects? If it mixes with light, look further at the light. What place there in the light before you is combined with the seeing? If you can distinguish the characteristic of seeing, what does it look like in combination? If it is not the seeing, how can you see the light? If it is the seeing, how can the seeing see itself? If it is certain that the seeing is complete, what room will there be for it to mix with the light? If the light is complete, it cannot unite and mix with the seeing. If seeing is different from light, then both the nature and the light lose their identity when they combine. Since the combination results in the loss of the light and the nature, it is meaningless to say it mixes with light. The same principle applies to its mixing with darkness, with emptiness, or with solid objects. Moreover, Ananda, as you are right now, once again, does the wonderful pure seeing essence unite with light? Does it unite with darkness? Does it unite with emptiness? Or does it unite with solid objects? If it unites with light, then when darkness comes, the characteristic of light is extinguished. How will you be able to see darkness, since the seeing does not unite with darkness? If you do see darkness, and yet at that time there is no union with darkness, but rather a union with light, then you would not have seen light. Since you would not have seen light, why is it that when there is union with light, you are able to know clearly that it is light and not darkness? The same is true of its union with darkness, with emptiness, or with solid objects. Ananda said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, as I consider it, the source of this wonderful enlightenment does not mix or unite with any conditioned, mundane object, or with the mind's speculation. Is that the case?" The Buddha said, "Now you say further that the enlightened nature is neither mixed nor united. So now I ask you further, as to this wonderful seeing essence, neither mixing nor uniting, does it not mix with light? Does it not mix with darkness? Does it not mix with emptiness? Does it not mix with solid objects?" If it does not mix with light, then between seeing and light there must be a boundary. Examine it further. What place is light? What place is seeing? Where are the boundaries of the seeing and the light? Ananda, if there is no seeing within the boundaries of light, then there is no contact between them, and clearly one would not know where the characteristics of the light is. Then how could its boundaries be realized? As to its not mixing with darkness, with emptiness, or with solid objects, the principle is the same. Moreover, as to the wonderful seeing essence, neither mixing nor uniting, does it not unite with light? Does it not unite with darkness? Does it not unite with emptiness? Does it not unite with solid objects? If it does not unite with light, then the seeing and the light are at odds with each other by nature, as are the ear and the light, which do not come in contact. Since the seeing does not know where the characteristic of the light is, how can it determine clearly whether there is union? As to its not uniting with darkness, with emptiness, or with solid objects, the principle is the same.